And speaking of sad, his son Donnie Jr., known to us as Fredo, tried to clear up his own scandal on Sean Hannity last night. And here's what he's saying about it. Now watch this clip.
In retrospect, I probably would have done things a little differently. Again, this is before the Russia mania. This is before they were building it up in the press. For me, this was opposition research. They had something, you know, maybe concrete evidence to all the stories I'd been hearing about, but they were probably underreported for, you know, years, not just during the campaign.
Did you tell your father anything about this?
No. It was such a nothing. There was nothing to tell. I mean, I wouldn't have even remembered it until you start scouring through the stuff. It was literally just a wasted 20 minutes, which was a shame.
So in other words, he tried to rob the bank, he couldn't find the money, and he's not accused of robbing the bank.
Yeah. Exactly. That's basically it. Break it down to it. Now I get it.
You know, what was very surprising to me was that he had such an appetite for it, such an appetite to go. I love it. You know, if the information, if you really have this information, I love it. And this appetite combined with this hubris and probably not enough smarts and probably a and a willingness to like circumvent the law. You know, people should be very concerned about that.
My first reaction when I heard there was Russia, I said, here you've got a group of people that say, they pride themselves, we're not politicians, we're not around this a lot.
Yeah.
Then you get an email that talks about the Russian government wanting to talk to you about your opponent.
Yeah.
And I said right away, behind the scenes, I was like, you know, wouldn't you at least flag like the FBI and say,
no,
we have, well,
because he's done a lot of work in Russia. He has like 6
right, but when someone says like the government wants to talk to you and you know you're going for the White House, like I would want to say this is a little scary, let me flag the FBI. And funny enough, I just read that in the 2000 presidential campaign, when debate materials came from George Bush at the time, when Al Gore's people got them, he actually contacted the FBI and said, this is a little sketchy, it's leaked information, we're concerned. So it shows that in the past, people have had red flags come up.
And where is Al Gore today? I mean, we got stuck with W and this nut because of that.
But there are close relations. It's true.
It makes me crazy.
But, you know, I think the reason he was so willing to take the meeting and take the information is because there are these ties between the Trump family and Russia. They are ongoing, they are long-standing, and they started around 2006.
Let's break this down exactly how much of the story has changed, right? First, he had no contact with the Russians.
That's what he said.
Yes, no contact with the Russians. It's a left-wing conspiracy.
Fake news.
It's fake news.
A witch hunt, I believe, is what he
Well, no,
it
the
smells
witch
like
hunt
a
is
witch
coming.
hunt.
Then said the meeting was about adoption. I was thinking about adopting folks from Russia.
Who was he, Angelina Jolie? It's like all of a sudden they're Mia Farrow and Angelina Jolie.
But then his email proved it was to get incriminating information. But then he said, and Jared doesn't know anything about this, and Paul Manafort, it's all a left-wing conspiracy. They don't know anything about this. And then on his own email, there. It's right, he sent it to them.
They're copied in.
And Pop, let me just put this out there. Now, Dad says, remember when you hear the word sources say from the fake media, oftentimes those sources are made up and don't exist. Your son's the source! Your son is the source!
This is all, I mean, I watched this interview. This was
the Hannity interview.
This Hannity interview. I mean, Junior looks horrible. I watched it in real time. I had to. This is all fair criticism coming at them. I mean, everyone knows, you know, I'm a conservative, but this stuff is crazy, what he's saying.
Yeah.
He's saying, I didn't know if there was any credibility. I didn't know if there was anything behind it. This guy doesn't understand that the Russian government cannot be relied on as a source of credibility, and you're now advising someone who's in the White House. You're his right-hand man. You're taking meetings or declining meetings. When you get an email that says that a government that is an adversary of the United States, that has fought to enable a genocide in another country, that has fought to undermine our elections, you say, no, thank you.
Not if you're in business with them.
Not if you have business there. I don't care.
If if you have business there, if you have been flying to Russia since 2006, Jed, over and over and over and over again on a plane to have business,
I don't care about his business.
Return
I don't care about his business because his father was wanting to represent the people of this country and our values. That country does not stand for what we stand for, and he needs to be held accountable for this. I'm sorry, I'm mad. I'm really mad. I'm very upset.
Well, and you should be very upset.
We're all upset.
Everybody's
and I'm nervous.
But people,
crazy.
but you know what?
It's not a surprise.
It's not a surprise because this group has gotten away with stuff, complains and says, why are they still talking about Russia? Well, we're still talking about it because every 2 minutes some new information comes out. And you can say, new guy, as often as you want to, it's fake news, fake news. Well, honey, not anymore. And you're not the, Don Jr. is not the first or only member of the first family guilty of changing his story. Take a look. A lot of changes. Go ahead.
Nothing to do with Russia.
It reads and smells like a witch hunt.
We're getting a look today at the emails that set up a June 26 meeting between Donald Trump Jr. and a Russian lawyer.
In retrospect, I probably would have done things a little differently.
I try to stay out of politics. Ivanka Trump briefly held her father's seat at a table of world leaders during the G20 summit.
The guts for Director Comey to make the move that he made.
He's a showboat. He's a grandstander. I was going to fire Comey.
And and this doesn't stop. Mr. Hannity mentioned something about this email thing that Comey was supposed to have done that Fox News had to walk back a couple of days ago. They keep resurging this stuff. This is the issue. People keep regurgitating lies.
Can I just commend there are some Republicans, John McCain, Lindsey Graham, Charles Krauthammer, that have come out and said this is not okay what's happening. You've had Marco Rubio tweeting saying you can't work with
We'll finish the conversation.
Yeah.